The tourism minister announces a crackdown on illegal Airbnbs and car rentals. First tonight on Our News, live at 7. Why the minister says compliance is key in a new budget push. Also, Bahamians to see continued relief at cash registers as inflation moderates in 2024. The central bank governor says a decline observed in 2023 expected to continue. Plus, sex with a teen he met on Facebook lands a man in prison for 2 years. Then in Our News at 7:30, residents react as a possible change in the retirement age. Our News live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to Our News live at 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Candido Knowles. Are you interested in operating a water sports, car rental company, or an Airbnb business? Well, the Tourism and Aviation and Investments Minister Chester Cooper says this year's budget aims to support those industries, but he's warning that those who are operating outside of the law may find themselves in an illegal crackdown soon. Marlena Leonard gets us started tonight.
The 2024-2025 budget hopes to encourage and enforce meaningful Bahamian ownership in the tourism industry. That coming from Minister of Tourism, Aviation and Investments, Chester Cooper, as he detailed new regulations for water sports operators.
In this budget, we have reserved commercial water sports exclusively for Bahamians. Yes. This will address many anomalies. Yes, the same budget that they call visionless, we're using to dismantle the status quo. The TDC will support new entrants into this sector, and we will engage the Department and Ministry of Transport to ensure strict enforcement.
Last year, the Department of Inland Revenue required property owners operating short-term vacation rentals to register with them. Now, Cooper has a strong word for those operating outside of the rules.
And I want to send a stern warning to homeowners who conduct unlicensed boat and car rentals by foreign Airbnb hosts, particularly in family islands like Eleuthera and Abaco and Exuma. Yes, we're open for business. Yes, we encourage investors. Yes, we're open to investors. But please, we want you to do it right and participate in sectors that are open to you. We increased penalties for these infractions during the last budget period to protect local business and ensure fair competition.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Marlena Leonard.
And inflation continues to hurt many Bahamian households. It's an issue that's been highlighted by the Prime Minister in the recent budget debate, as he insists that his administration is looking to ease the burden. Tonight, the governor of the central bank is weighing in on the conversation. Megan Shepherd has more.
Bahamians expected to feel continued relief at their local cash registers. This as Governor of the Central Bank of the Bahamas, John Roll, says a further modification in the rate of inflation is expected this year. He says the rate of inflation has been on the decline, noting that the year 2023 saw lower rates than the year 2022, and that trend is expected to continue.
Inflation is really describing how much prices are going up on average every year. So it means that we would have seen since 2020 the accumulated increase in prices, which were the effect of inflation. A part of what is important when you move beyond this point is for activities elsewhere in your economy to catch up, people to have the growth in their incomes and the like, so that at least in terms of purchasing power terms, people can recover to the levels that their incomes were be able to afford before the run-up in prices.
And for those that have yet to experience growth in their income or to the average consumer, the governor had this bit of advice.
I think the most important thing for us is to always, operate within a budget, because, sometimes a budget makes it very clear what is affordable and what is not affordable, but at least it allows you to allocate and plan how you spend.
And in just a matter of days, the new 1.5 National Insurance Board rate increase will take effect. Now, we asked Governor Roll if he believes this is yet another burden on the Bahamian people. He says he is encouraging residents to view the increase as an investment in your future.
What we're doing really addressing how you make that pension more secure and solid for the future. So if it means that at some point you have to contribute more, the earlier you tackle that funding need, the less costly it will be for all of us. Even though it's not a pleasant thing for people to hear about, having to add an extra level of deductions from their salaries, but it is really with the good purpose of, putting us in a better position longer term.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Megan Shepherd.
Thanks, Megan. A man who had sex with a 13-year-old girl that he met on Facebook has been jailed for 2 years. Prosecutors say Orlando Williams and the minor had relations 3 times soon after they met online in 2022. The case did not go to trial as Williams pleaded guilty to 3 counts of unlawful sexual intercourse when he appeared before Justice Andrew Forbes. In his sentencing decision, Justice Forbes said the situation was avoidable, noting that children allowed to use social media without supervision are often sought out by older men. Now, the sentence was recommended by prosecutor Ashley Carroll. Those sentences expected to run concurrently and take effect from April 20th. And the child protection activists weighing in on missing children's cases, calling on the public to be more sensitive and less judgmental when a poster or Marcos alert is issued. Rise Bahamas founder Tennille Burrows says no child should have to face ridicule in such serious situations.
I don't think that children who go missing in one instance versus another, I don't think there should be any differentiation, regardless of how or why or where the child is missing. The Marco alert should be sent out as soon as the police can confirm that that child is missing, but the criteria for confirming fundamentally that a child is missing should be that they haven't been in their home that they reside in for 24 hours, whether they're with family members, friends, strangers, it doesn't make a difference.
In recent cases, police have gotten backlash about how long it takes to send out an alert when a child is reported missing. It's an issue Burrows says they will continue to keep an eye on.
We want to encourage the spirit that Bernard Nottage first implemented this law and proposed this law to maintain the urgency, because Marco Archer's murder, which the police did not act within 24 hours, called for him to ensure that children that are missing become high priority, the highest priority, and that measures such as a missing child alert, billboards, and posts on media, television, radio, and in the newspaper happens to avoid children facing any sort of harm or abuse.
All right, we've got much more to get to tonight. But for now, it's time for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is standing by in the Weather Center. And Greg, I'm looking on the screen, I'm seeing 86, 87, and it's feeling like 96. But the sun was not out today. We saw mostly cloudy conditions. I'm sure folks are trying to figure out why is it still so hot. Humidity, right?
It's the humidity.
Yeah.
See, when you work out, the way the body regulates itself is it sweats.
Yeah.
And that sweat's allowed to evaporate. But when you have a lot of moisture around, the evaporation process is slowed down. So you basically feel clammy,
Boy, that
muggy.
moisture's been around for quite a while.
Yeah, we've been having that moisture plume, and that moisture plume is really doing some serious damage to Florida and the extreme northern islands. We show you that in our satellite picture, but yeah, that moisture is out there and it's making it feel like what you say. Mid-90s, 87 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. Also, we have that southerly wind that's bringing in those warm and humid temperatures across the area. And of course, like I said, it feels like a very warm and muggy 96. Temperatures around the islands right now. Rain cold in Grand Bahama, you guys have 78 degrees. And you have a lot of showers with some thunderstorm activity up there. Marsh Harbor, Abaco 84, 84 in Governor's Harbor, as well as in Great Harbor Key. Pick up 83 in Allenstown, Bimini, Nicholstown, Andros, 86 here in the capital. We in the mid to upper 80s there. Central Bahamas, 85 in Kemps Bay. We pick up 84s. Arthurstown, Cat Island, Georgetown, Deadman's Key. Over in Coopertown, San Salvador, you are 79. And into the southeast Bahamas, 84s, Duncantown, Ragged Island, Colonel Hill, Cricket Island, Delectable Bay. Pick up 83 in Abrahams Bay, 85 in Matthewtown, Inagua, and Turks and Caicos Islands. You guys are seeing a little more sun down there, so you are very warm, 88 degrees on the outside. Satellite radar composite. This is a repetitive situation we've been having across the extreme northern islands. Well, actually, most of the island chain. We still have quite a bit of moisture coming out of the Gulf of Mexico. There's a low pressure system right across Florida. I don't know if you can see a bit of a spin there across the central portions of Florida, and an upper level trough that's pumping that moisture across the northwest Bahamas. Showers, widespread showers and thunderstorm activity affecting those islands. Grand Bahama, you guys are getting in on a lot of that action. And I did see some Florida news earlier. They are having a serious flooding problem there. So we're hoping that you don't have that across the extreme northern islands. That's a quick check on conditions around the island. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast. Still to come.
Thanks, Greg. And still to come on our news, Atlantis Resort unveils an exciting new amenity. Jerome Sawyer experiences a day of fun on Spanish Wells and returns for dinner. But first, we'll tell you the boarding school that's expected to target at-risk teen boys. Plus, the National Training Agency debuts NTA Exclusive, a show to boost job preparedness. Media manager Anton Cunningham explains the post-pandemic inspiration when our news returns.
Join us for a gripping RTV special as we kick off the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season.
Continues to ramp up, so we're going to get smashed here. There are down trees literally everywhere.
From the latest tracking technology to expert analysis, we've got you covered. Learn how to prepare, stay safe, and stay informed as we navigate the potential storms ahead. Tune in on June 12th at 8 p.m. as we brace for impact and weather the storm together. Only on RTV.
No travel, no problem. Summer is here, whether you're fighting to stay cool or heating up the fun. Our News Weekend is your guide to the ultimate staycation. We're talking all of the hidden gems right in our backyard, from the hottest bars and lounges to the coolest excursions and events in town. So stay cool, stay local, and stay tuned. Tune in every Saturday to make sure your summer staycation is an unforgettable sensation. Only on Our News Weekend.
And you'll never be the one. I wanna love you till I had enough. Do you want me now or later, 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 later? Listen to me now.
Plans are in the works for the creation of the country's first boarding school for at-risk teenage boys. Minister of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting, Miles LaRota, making the announcement as he made his contribution to the 2024-2025 budget debate on Wednesday. LaRota telling Parliament the program will include academic, emotional, career, and physical development. The boys will also have access to therapy.
Approval is granted for the introduction of the Bahamas' first therapeutic boarding school program, which will include a psychological, educational, academic, and vocational criteria and a multidisciplinary boarding school approach for at-risk boys between the ages of 11 and 14, between ages 14 years and older.
LaRota telling Parliament the idea came out of a Cabinet Select Committee requested by Education Minister Glenys Hannah Martin after the Ministry of Education noticed boys from the ages of 11 to about 14 were being more deviant in their actions.
This population would initially include male students who were not in a wholesome family structure and would benefit from 24-hour full-time structured environment differentiated from the Shore program, which operate during regular school hours.
Well, the National Training Agency launching its very own show. It's called NTA Exclusive, and those behind the project say it'll focus on educating about the job or being job ready. Media manager Anton Cunningham shares how it all got started after the COVID-19 pandemic.
Everything went online, so I kind of hopped on that bandwagon, and it's just been something that we've been doing on Facebook, on YouTube, getting the word out about the National Training Agency, and each week the viewership has just been going higher and higher, and to be quite honest, it's been very exciting so far. I love anytime I get to have a show with Grand Bahama. It's something that I get really excited about, but yeah, NTA Exclusive is really on the go.
All right, and if you are at all interested, manager Kenneth Miller says you can find episodes on the NTA's social media pages.
Take a look at the various episodes that have been shot, and you will get to experience NTA in a nutshell, and you'll be able to see the prestigious work we're doing at this agency of ours.
When our news comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as the United States says a Gaza ceasefire plan is in balance. Plus, Russian warships arrive in Cuba. And one person is dead after a Georgia gunman hijacks a commuter bus in Atlanta. The story when our news returns.
Join us for a gripping RTV special as we kick off the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season.
Continues to ramp up, but we're going to get smashed here. There are down trees literally everywhere.
From the latest tracking technology to expert analysis, we've got you covered. Learn how to prepare, stay safe, and stay informed as we navigate the potential storms ahead. Tune in on June 12th at 8 p.m. as we brace for impact and weather the storm together. Only on RTV.
No travel, no problem. Summer is here. Whether you're fighting to stay cool or heating up the fun, Our News Weekend is your guide to the ultimate staycation. We're talking all of the hidden gems right in our backyard, from the hottest bars and lounges to the coolest excursions and events in town. So stay cool, stay local, and stay tuned. Tune in every Saturday to make sure your summer staycation is an unforgettable sensation. Only on Our News Weekend.
And you'll never be the one. I wanna love you till I had enough. Do you want me now or later, 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 later? 'Cause I'm doing
This is our news. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken reported that Hamas has suggested numerous changes to a U.S.-backed Gaza ceasefire and hostage release plan. Speaking in Doha on Tuesday, Blinken mentioned that while some changes are feasible, others are not. The U.S., along with Qatar and Egypt, working to finalize the deal. Although Hamas expressed a willingness to cooperate, it emphasized the necessity of a permanent ceasefire agreement from Israel. Israel has yet to comment officially, but an anonymous Israeli source indicated that Hamas's response was essentially a rejection. On Monday, the UN Security Council recently passed a resolution in support of the ceasefire proposal. A Georgia man hijacked a commuter bus in Atlanta on Tuesday, holding the driver and 17 passengers at gunpoint. 39-year-old Joseph Greer had argued with another passenger who police say pulled a gun on him. Greer, a convicted felon, wrestled the firearm away, shot the passenger, and forced the driver to flee. The wounded passenger later died. The bus zigzagged through Atlanta traffic, causing collisions as anxious passengers contacted loved ones and authorities. Police used spike strips and an armored vehicle to stop the bus, eventually halting it in Stone Mountain. Greer was arrested after a Georgia State Patrol officer shot the bus's engine. And 4 Russian naval vessels, including a nuclear-powered submarine and frigate, have arrived in Cuba amid tensions with the West over the war in Ukraine. Anchored in Havana Bay, just 90 miles from Florida, the vessels include one of the Admiral frigate and the Kazan submarine, both carrying advanced weapons like hypersonic Cyclone missiles. Now, despite earlier missile drills in the Atlantic, Cuba's foreign ministry assured none of the vessels have nuclear arms and their 5-day visit is not a regional threat. The U.S. Navy monitored the vessel's approach while U.S. officials say they are closely observing the visit. Russia's defense minister described the visit as unofficial for crew rest. And a new government has been formed in Haiti to restore order amid ongoing violence. The new cabinet announced 2 weeks ago that Gary Conille was appointed interim prime minister, replacing all ministers from former Prime Minister Ariel Henry's government, who was ousted by gangs. Conille will also serve as interior minister. Key appointments include Carlos Hercules as justice minister and a new foreign affairs minister, Dominique Depew. Despite these changes, gangs still control much of Port-au-Prince, and a promised UN-backed security force led by Kenya has yet to be deployed. Now, Haiti remains in turmoil since President Jovenel Moïse's assassination in 2021. All right, and we are following a new state of emergency that's been issued in Florida, in South Florida. Our Greg Thompson is going to have more on that coming up in our news at 7:30. Still to come in our news, today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was June 12th. Then in our news at 7:30, Grand Bahama pilots say a reported hike in flight fees will hurt the industry. And how the central bank governor says the Afrexim Bank annual meetings will deepen the country's global network. When our news returns.
Join us for a gripping RTV special as we kick off the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season.
Continues to ramp up, so we're going to get smashed here. There are down trees literally everywhere.
From the latest tracking technology to expert analysis, we've got you covered. Learn how to prepare, stay safe, and stay informed as we navigate the potential storms ahead. Tune in on June 12th at 8 p.m. as we brace for impact and weather the storm together. Only on RTV.
No travel, no problem. Summer is here. Whether you're fighting to stay cool or heating up the fun, Our News Weekend is your guide to the ultimate staycation. We're talking all of the hidden gems right in our backyard, from the hottest bars and lounges to the coolest excursions and events in town. So stay cool, stay local, and stay tuned. Tune in every Saturday to make sure your summer staycation is an unforgettable sensation. Only on Our News Weekend.
And you'll never be the one. I wanna love you till I had enough. Do you want me now or later, 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 later? Listen to it
Turn our spotlight on events that shaped the day that was June 12th. Take a look.
On this day in Bahamian history in 2012, a day after the Glory Time vessel sank in waters off North Abaco, the search for survivors continued. Then National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage said 10 passengers who remained unaccounted for were fair dead, bringing the death toll in the disaster to 21. A total of 28 people were said to be on board as the vessel was allegedly headed to the United States on a human smuggling mission. Fisherman and diver Jamal Cornish single-handedly retrieved 11 bodies the day before, 6 women, 4 boys, and 1 girl.
It's hard to explain. But I mean, like, I see my little girl, I see my mommy, I see my sister. To see women and children, yeah, it make me think. They show me it's a lot to life. Life simple and precious. You gotta cherish it. The Defense Force vessel, it was too big, so I had to bring them up 2 at a time. We put them in my son Bristol boat, and then we took it back to the Defense Force vessel.
Then in 2014, after sleeping in Rawson Square from the night before, a group of protesters from various organizations demanded government enforce the Freedom of Information Act. Those protesters clashed with police.
They came over and they claimed that the music was too loud. They claimed that we were talking too loud on the mic and that we were disturbing Parliament. How can we disturb the people that were elected to serve us? And they demanded that we shut it down. We have a permit. We have a permit for our music, for our mics and everything. How is our demonstration? How are people going to hear us without our mics? You understand? We want to get the message out there. We want people to come and support us, and they can't. And I'm saying we're being muzzled. I'm saying that our democratic rights are being trampled upon.
Then in 2017, then opposition leader Philip Davis said something was off about government's decision to drop an appeal on parliamentary privilege involving environmental group Save the Bays and former cabinet minister Jerome Fitzgerald. Supreme Court Justice Indra Charles previously ruled the Marathon MP infringed on the constitutional right to privacy of Save the Bays members when he read and tabled private emails in Parliament and therefore could not be protected by parliamentary privilege. Fitzgerald subsequently filed an appeal to have the ruling overturned. However, Davis asserting the Court of Appeal should have been allowed to hear the case.
That's a smell good item, Mr. Speaker. And I gave reasons why I think it doesn't smell good. Yeah. It smells. It smells. It smells. Whatever great respect the member may have for me, right? He ought to have concern about the separation of power and the import of this decision on all of us.
In 2018, as members of the Gaming Operators Association battled government over a proposed sliding scale tax, then Attorney General Carl Bethel asserted that mouths could say anything and that anything could be put on paper. This after attorney Wayne Monroe announced the association had instructed him to proceed with legal action.
They say they're going to sue. We'll see. If they sue, they'll be fought in court.
The government of the Bahamas is sovereign, and it will not be bullied by threats of any legal action.
Then in 2019, Brian Morey QC was officially sworn in as the new Chief Justice during a ceremony at Government House.
We do need major reforms. We do need changes. And we intend to address some of these challenges very directly in the short term. And I don't think it's going to be business as usual.
2021 saw the inaugural home porting of Adventure of the Seas in downtown Nassau. A celebration took place in Pompey Square to mark the historic occasion. And finally, in 2022, the geopolitical impact of China in the region was discussed during the RF Economic Summit.
I don't fault the Chinese one bit. They see so many opportunities to invest here in the Caribbean. We don't see that same level of engagement on the part of the United States and our private institutions or our government in the Caribbean, and for that matter, in Latin America more broadly. But we are very much concerned, not only because the Caribbean is so proximate to the United States, but there are very important economic and national security considerations from a completely objective perspective in Washington.
Well, the Atlantis Resort has added yet another great amenity for guests. And on any given Friday or Sunday, they can spend the day in Spanish Wells and be back at the hotel in time for dinner. Our Jerome Sawyer recently tested it out to see if it was really a true out island experience.
It's the perfect way to see the beauty of our family islands while visiting Nassau. Atlantis Sapphire Services is now offering another uniquely Bahamian experience for guests who want just a little bit something extra. And recently, I got a chance to test it out. From the luxurious cove at Atlantis, the journey starts with a limo trip to Odyssey Airport to an awaiting seaplane bound for Spanish Wells on a 25-minute ride. So what's the difference between a seaplane ride? Nothing really, except this, the landing. A smooth glide into some of the most pristine waters in the world. Our guide and captain, Sheldon Pinder of Exotic Excursions, was there to greet us. Before we set sail, though, a moment to just take in this magnificent sand dune.
Okay, and this never goes under, you know. No. Never goes under. Right here where you see the seagrass saddling and stuff.
Breathtaking, right? It's goodbye to our seaplane pilots for now, and then set sail for the day. With my sea legs planted on deck, the ocean breeze up front, and sun overhead, we whipped through the Spanish Wells seas. The first stop is just off the coast of Royal Island. Some swings and stingrays. So it took a little reassuring, but Sheldon finally convinced me to feed the stingrays. Having mastered that experience, it was off to try the swings. Well, 1 out of 2 isn't bad. It was soon back to the boat and on the open water, and then to Pig Island. Here we were greeted by 28 pigs, ducks, chickens, and Spanish Wells native Jessie. And now for our final stop to feed the turtles. A far less aggressive experience than the pigs and ducks, but is equally as intriguing. This group of turtles weren't shy about showing up for their afternoon feeding. By this time, though, I was a little bit more relaxed in the immersive experience. It was now time to head back. Our majestic seaplane touched down and pulled up curbside, or seaside. One last wave to Spanish Wells, and back home with a full cargo of great memories from our day away to this amazing family island adventure, courtesy of Atlantis. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jerome Sawyer.
All right, and I would say that is certainly a true Bahamian experience. Thanks so much for that, Jerome. If you want to see that story again and for all of today's top stories, you can visit ournews.bs. It's going to do it for us in News at 7. Joining us now is our Talia Hall with the latest headlines. Talia, I think you may...
That's the first question. When are we going?
So the first question is, will you teach Jerome how to use the swing?
Yeah. I saw that. I saw that. I don't know what's going on, but it looks like it was a great time for sure. Definitely. So we need to make some plans to go.
Now let's don't say we can make the plans and don't make the plans.
We got to make it happen. All right. Thanks so much, Ken. Well, coming up tonight, Grand Bahama pilots say a reported hike in flight fees will hurt the industry, and residents split on a possible change in the retirement age. Here are your latest headlines. First tonight on Our News Live at 7:30, the National Insurance Board discussing the possibility of increasing the country's current retirement age. We have public reaction, plus come July 1st, the Bahamas Customs Department will increase international inbound and outbound fees for aircraft. Some Grand Bahama pilots are weighing in. Plus, hear why former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis says the financial secretary should be fired. His full comments straight ahead. And later, the central bank governor calling the 31st African Export-Import Bank annual general meeting that's underway at the Bahama Resort a good opportunity for Bahamians. When Our News Live at 7:30 returns.
You've seen electric cars on the road, but isn't it time you drive one? Easy Car Sales invites you to experience the smooth, powerful ride and immerse yourself in the luxury and latest tech features. Find out why the Bahamas is going electric. Visit easy242.com and book your test drive now. What are you waiting for? Save money, drive smarter. There's an EV waiting for you at Easy Car Sales.
Well, what you doing here?
I dig in the well to connect to the house of building for me and Mavis.
Why you just don't call water and sewage?
Call them for what?
To get your city water. You don't have to worry about your water cutting off when the power cut off. And your water's clean and safe, free from coliform bacteria.
Cauliflower what?
Call us at 302-5500 to make the switch from well water to city water for a more fresh, reliable water supply for you and your family.
Energy conservation is the decision and practice of using less energy. Energy efficiency means using less energy to perform the same task. Turning off lights when you leave a room. Unplugging appliances not in use. People conserve to gain more control over their energy bill and to reduce demand on the Earth's natural resources. Bahamas Power and Light Company Limited looks forward to helping our customers eliminate wasted energy. Take this journey with us as we build for better. BPL.
Welcome to our news. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Natalia Hall. Tonight, residents are sounding off on the possible increase in retirement age. This as government continues to look for answers to offset a growing debt at the National Insurance Board. Our Joshua Williams took to the streets.
Tell them I some travel and move.
The National Insurance Board has been directed by the government to discuss possibly increasing the nation's pension or retirement age, according to National Insurance Minister Alfred Sayers. Sayers telling Parliament recently the ratio of people working compared to the amount of retirees is not sustainable. The latest actuarial report recommends the retirement age be increased from 65 to 67. Here's what residents had to say about the possible change.
Some people take it at 60 at a reduced cost and whatever.
It should still be 65. I ended at 67.
This resident would support the increase. He gives a unique perspective on how it would work.
If they're going to add an interest to say, well, if you wait until you get 67, rather than drawing this amount, you would get X amount, fine. Because you got a lot of people who, I'm 66 and I'm still working.
Many of the residents I spoke to were retirees who receive pensions. But are they pleased with what they get?
Enlarging it, man, because the average person really who on pension can't really make it with a pension. It's just a drop in the bucket.
Because that treat something, but they put on for you every month. I mean, at least if we always get that long sum with the nursing officer system and stuff.
Now, NIB will also raise the contribution rate by 1.5 percentage points come July. Do residents agree with that move?
They will be paying a little bit more. That's all right with me.
So if you're going after the citizen for more money for national insurance, start from the white collar and then come down the line. Because our wage scale really ain't enough to actually pay national insurance more than what we're paying now.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
All right, thanks so much, Josh. Well, come July 1st, the Bahamas Customs Department will increase international inbound and outbound fees for aircraft across the country. The news comes as a surprise for some pilots in Grand Bahama. They say this will impact their careers and the tourism sector.
I understand everything has to be raised, but to a certain point, 10, 15%, 20% maybe, not 500%.
Effective July 1st, there will be a number of amendments to the aircraft inbound and outbound fees. For regular scheduled commercial aircraft, the inbound and outbound fees are set as $50. Private commercial cargo flights, $150. As for private aircraft with 4 seats or less, including all seats in the cabin, $75. Private aircraft with more than 4 seats, including all seats in the cabin, $150. And flights flying for recreational purposes only, $150 for inbound fees. Private pilot Peter Scobin says he found out about the news from an Air Canada pilot who owns a plane in Grand Bahama. He adds the fees makes it difficult for him to fly.
I can't afford to go whenever I feel like it. I usually go just once a week. We cut that back down now to once every 3 weeks or once a month, maybe.
Commercial pilot and flight instructor Jamal Johnson says the increase is a hard pill to swallow and will hurt the aviation sector.
the winter months, you have a lot of guys that fly around the airplanes. They may have some vacation homes, and they stay here for a while, and I think that price increase is going to deter those people from taking part of that when they're here.
Pilot Ricardo Munning says there was no consultation with pilots and calls it unfair.
People may look at it and think this is insignificant to owners of aircraft because, again, they presume that all owners have money. But some of the people, like people that Jamal and I fly for, who are owners but not pilots, and so they have us flying for them. The people may say, hey, this is not worth having the aircraft. We had the aircraft for this purpose. Now it's costing way too much for us to even operate the aircraft.
Open shares for Grand Bahamians increases a lot, especially after Hurricane Dorian, as many are still trying to recover.
And they just keep increasing fees, parking fees, customs fees, everything has gone up.
All right, well, changes are on the way for Bahamas Air and Nassau Flight Services. It's an effort to cut costs. Aviation Minister Chester Cooper says by merging two companies' baggage handling services, they hope to increase synergy and efficiency.
When I came to public life, I promised the Bahamian people to bring all the skills and strategies that I learned in business. So we have two money-losing agencies, Bahamas Air and Nassau Flight Services. Both of them are offering baggage handling services. We're going to merge those departments. We're going to create synergy. We're going to create efficiency.
Well, former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis thinks Financial Secretary Simon Wilson should be fired after his recent back and forth with a reporter at the office of the Prime Minister earlier this month. Well, Wilson got into a heated confrontation with Nassau Guardian reporter Yori Kemp. Kemp had accused Wilson of lying about the JDL Cargo Management Company and its contract to manage freight at the Lyndon Pinling International Airport, prompting the Financial Secretary to react angrily. The situation then escalated to the point where Economic Affairs Minister Michael Halkitis had to step in between the two as he made his contribution to the 2024-2025 budget debate in Parliament on Wednesday evening. Minnis didn't mince his words as he gave his candid comments on the matter.
In our nation, reeling with so much crime and violence, the Financial Secretary's abusive behavior sent a terrible message, and the Prime Minister runs a slack operation at OPM.
Well, Wilson issued a public apology calling his conflict entirely regrettable. Minnis condemned Wilson and said if Prime Minister Philip Davis fails to fire him, it shows he condoned his behavior.
The Prime Minister should have immediately asked for the Financial Secretary's resignation. The Prime Minister should have directly spoken about this incident. Instead, a weak as water statement of apology was released.
Well, cloudy weather conditions in the capital on this Wednesday. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is live in the Weather Center with your first look at weather. Greg, yeah. I know I got some calls earlier from Grand Bahama. They said there was lots of rain.
South Florida too. They are in a state of emergency. We just heard that in the early part of the newscast. They are having some significant rainfall over there. Up to 18, 19 inches recorded already in South Florida. Some areas are just devastated. And Grand Bahama's getting in on some of that action. Show you that in our satellite picture. But yeah, they're getting some rainfall out of this system and a lot more moisture to come. So we have another day of this for the Northwest Bahamas. 86 degrees outside our studios right now under mostly cloudy skies, and it is humid. South winds 9 miles per hour, but it's still making it feel like mid-90s. 96 is what it feels like on the outside. Satellite radar composite. A couple of features in place. We have a surface trough, a low pressure system across central Florida. That trough extends back towards the Yucatan Peninsula. And then we have some very potent upper level support, and that is continuing to pump a lot of moisture and keeping the atmosphere unstable across the Northwest Bahamas. As I mentioned, South Florida, up to 18 inches recorded already. Grand Bahama should be getting in on some of that. Severe weather warnings were posted for the early part of that, and the Northern Ireland still under a flood watch. So we're looking at more rainfall at least for tomorrow, and we should see some clearing by the weekend. That's a quick check on conditions around the island. Stick with us to look at your extended forecast in Silicon.
Still to come on our news, the 31st African Export-Import Bank annual general meeting is underway at the Bahama Resort. We have more details coming up when our news continues.
You've seen electric cars on the road, but isn't it time you drive one? Easy Car Sales invites you to experience the smooth, powerful ride and immerse yourself in the luxury and latest tech features. Find out why the Bahamas is going electric. Visit easy242.com and book your test drive now. What are you waiting for? Save money, drive smarter. There's an EV waiting for you at Easy Car Sales.
Well, what you doing here?
I dig in the well to connect to the house I'm building for me and Mavis.
Why you just don't call water and sewage?
Call them for what?
To get your city water. You don't have to worry about your water cutting off when the power cut off. And your water's clean and safe, free from coliform bacteria.
Cauliflower what?
Call us at 302-5500 to make the switch from well water to city water for a more fresh, reliable water supply for you and your family.
Energy conservation is the decision and practice of using less energy. Energy efficiency means using less energy to perform the same task. Turning off lights when you leave a room. Unplugging appliances not in use. People conserve to gain more control over their energy bill and to reduce demand on the Earth's natural resources. Bahamas Power and Light Company Limited looks forward to helping our customers eliminate wasted energy. Take this journey with us as we build for better. BPL.
At the gateway to the Americas, on the picturesque island of Grand Bahama, a pioneering initiative is taking shape. Lucaya Solar Power Limited presents the $15 million Lucaya Solar Power Project, the first of its kind in the Bahamas' energy landscape. The state-of-the-art solar farm on the Fairfield and Devon sites spans just over 30 acres, and once completed, will harness the power of the sun to generate over 9.5.
The 31st African Export-Import Bank annual general meeting of Fraxum Bank and the 3rd Afro-Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum both underway at the Bahamar Convention Center. Governor of the Central Bank of the Bahamas, John Roll, says this is an opportunity for Bahamians and countries in the Caribbean to observe and possibly emulate how African countries conduct business and trade.
Any opportunity that we take advantage of, I think, where the private sector is able to grow their business through increased trade linkages, I think is a good one. And I think the African case also illustrates that you have to think about trade as more than just shipping goods. You know, a big part of what is traded today is services and expertise. And in the Caribbean region, we have lots of expertise that are coming up, for example, in the fintech space. Bahamian and Caribbean firms are doing a lot internationally, and they can find good footing in these markets as well.
This year's AAM 2024 theme is Owning Our Destiny, Economic Prosperity on the Platform of Global Africa. And organizers say the goal is to unite with the Caribbean and the diaspora. The central bank governor shares his expectations at the end of the three-day conference.
I think lots of new connections will have been made. What we should also understand is that the Afri-Exim Bank has been very active in the Caribbean for several recent years. They have an office present in Barbados. They've been holding trade forums in the Caribbean for at least 3 years. So deepening the networking ties at the business levels. And I believe in cases, the governments can speak for themselves individually. There is also an initiative to get the government to try and leverage the access to the financial resources of Afri-Exim Bank.
Coming up in sports, the Junkanoo boys struggle on the road in FIFA World Cup 2026 qualification, and more from the senior women's national basketball team training camp.
Plus cool temperatures in the capital on this Wednesday. Craig is back with more weather details when Our News returns.
You've seen electric cars on the road, but isn't it time you drive one? Easy Car Sales invites you to experience the smooth, powerful ride and immerse yourself in the luxury and latest tech features. Find out why the Bahamas is going electric. Visit easy242.com and book your test drive now. What are you waiting for? Save money, drive smarter. There's an EV waiting for you at Easy Car Sales.
Well, what you doing here?
I dig in the well to connect to the house of Billy for me and Mavis.
Why you just don't call water and sewage?
Call them for what?
To get your city water. You don't have to worry about your water cutting off and the power cut off. And your water's clean and safe, free from coliform bacteria.
Cauliflower what?
Call us at 302-5500 to make the switch from well water to city water for a more fresh, reliable water supply for you and your family.
Energy conservation is the decision and practice of using less energy. Energy efficiency means using less energy to perform the same task. Turning off lights when you leave a room. Unplugging appliances not in use. People conserve to gain more control over their energy bill and to reduce demand on the Earth's natural resources. Bahamas Power and Light Company Limited looks forward to helping our customers eliminate wasted energy. Take this journey with us as we build for better. BPL.
At the gateway to the Americas, on the picturesque island of Grand Bahama, a pioneering initiative is taking shape. Lucaya Solar Power Limited presents the $15 million Lucaya Solar Power Project, the first of its kind in the Bahamas' energy landscape. The state-of-the-art solar farm on the Fairfield and Devon sites spans just over 30 acres, and once completed, will harness the power of the sun to generate over 9.5 megawatts of clean, sustainable energy. The Lucaya Solar Project is a pivotal step towards diversifying the country's energy sources and significantly reducing dependency on fossil fuels. It's more than just a project. It's a commitment to a greener, more sustainable future. Lucaya Solar Power Limited, powered by Inti. Powering your world, powering.
Join us for a gripping art.
This is Our News. Welcome back. Team Bahamas drops both matches on the road as they begin their bid to qualify for the FIFA World Cup. Here now with Our Sports presented by 10th year seniors is Ronaldo Dorset and John Mark Nuts.
Thanks, Natalia, and welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th year seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's John Mark Nutt. Let's do show. Team Bahamas lost both matches in the second round of CONCACAF qualifiers for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The team was blanked 1-0 by St. Kitts and Nevis at Warner Park in Basseterre, St. Kitts and Nevis Tuesday afternoon. Ethan Bristow scored the lone goal of the match at the 12-minute mark with a header following a block attempt. The Bahamas also lost 7-1 to Trinidad and Tobago over the weekend. In addition to the Bahamas and St. Kitts and Nevis, Group B also includes TNT, Costa Rica, and Grenada. Costa Rica currently leads the group with 6 points, while Trinidad and Tobago is second with 4 points. Following the completion of the second round, the group winners and runners-up will progress to the third and final round of CONCACAF qualifiers.
A promising youth movement has Coach Yo optimistic on the future of the women's program.
Optimistic because of the youth. There are some really young players that definitely will be around till 2028, God willing. And so I'm optimistic because I know if we could just keep this going, this can't be one time. Once I put this stuff in, hopefully when I come back quarterly, we could just continue to build on this, and the coaches here will continue to build on what we have.
She outlined how the Federation plans to stay connected with players throughout the process beyond this week's training camp.
No, we have to start now. We have to build the rapport and the relationships now. So when it's time for us to really make that push, we have the trust, everybody feels good, and we have some type of uniformity.
The senior women's program continues training camp through the week and concludes June 17th at the Kendall Isaacs Gymnasium.
A few Bahamian minor leaguers are off to promising starts in the second division of Rookie League Baseball. Miami Marlins infield prospect Sharif Nemor is hitting .333 in his first season progressing to the Florida Complex League. In Monday's 10-2 win over the FCL Cardinals, Nemor finished 2 for 5 with a triple, a double, scored 2 runs, and added a stolen base. He has an .866 OPS so far this season. In the Arizona Complex League, San Francisco Giants infield prospect Ryan Reckley is hitting .316 on the season. Reckley homered for the first time this season in the Giants' 8-7 win over the FCL Padres. He has a .500 OBP and .974 OPS so far this season. The complex leagues are the second level of Rookie League Baseball in the minor league system. That'll do it for our sports. This is 10YS. Junkanoo boys didn't have fun in St. Kitts.
Now you got to only go Ralston Square.
Back to the studio.
Still ahead on our news tonight, cool weather conditions across the islands. Greg is back with more weather details right after this quick break. Stay with us.
Join us for a gripping RTV special as we kick off the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season.
Continues to ramp up, so we're going to get smashed here. There are down trees literally everywhere.
From the latest tracking technology to expert analysis, we've got you covered. Learn how to prepare, stay safe, and stay informed as we navigate the potential storms ahead. Tune in on June 12th at 8 p.m. as we brace for impact and weather the storm together. Only on RTV.
No travel, no problem. Summer is here. Whether you're fighting to stay cool or heating up the fun, Our News Weekend is your guide to the ultimate staycation. We're talking all of the hidden gems right in our backyard, from the hottest bars and lounges to the coolest excursions and events in town. So stay cool, stay local, and stay tuned. Tune in every Saturday to make sure your summer staycation is an unforgettable sensation. Only on Our News Weekend.
And you'll never be the one. I wanna love you till I had enough. Do you want me now? Or later, 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 later? Listen to me now.
If you thought season 1 was amazing, then be prepared for season 2. More amazing artists, more amazing videos, and surprises you won't believe. Will Stax be the first rapper to ever hit #1? Or will Kenya continue her dominant reign? Or will someone new come and shut it all down? Stay tuned for season 2 of 242 The Gospel.
So you said you're here for Sully's funeral? How do you know Sully? He was my rock and my anchor.
Yeah, he was a good man.
He most certainly was not. Watch what you say about Sully. Who is this child?
Your sisters. I'm asking you to do a few things for me. Once they are done, you will both receive your inheritance. The Paradise Hotel.
When can I sell? Is this what the hotel is really worth?
Don't take this the wrong way. It isn't really much of a hotel.
Back to our news. Thanks for sticking with us. Taking a look at our extended forecast, we are watching that potent system in the Gulf of Mexico that's pumping a lot of moisture across the Bahamas, especially the northwest Bahamas. Lots of cloud mass across most of the island chain, but the bulk of the weather is really affecting the Grand Bahama, Bimini, and the Abacos, possibly even the Berry Islands. That moisture is associated with a low-pressure system in the Gulf of Mexico, that tropical air mass moving across our area, and a potent upper-level support that's going to continue to keep us in a wet pattern. And it looks as though we're going to see that through Friday as the system remains in place. Taking a look at our satellite picture, lots of moisture, showers and thunderstorms affecting our area. National Hurricane Center will continue to monitor the system. There's the potential for some development as it moves off the east coast of Florida, about a 20% chance, but it will be moving away, and by the end of the weekend and early next week, most of the moisture associated with that will be pulling away. There's also another area that we're going to be watching in the southwestern Gulf of Mexico. That's going to be continued to be monitored, but that's not going to pose a problem for us. Of course, the remainder of the tropics quiet, and we like it that way. Future forecast, moisture across the area staying in place, and that moisture will stay through us, as I mentioned, through Thursday and into Friday. More moisture will continue to stay with us, but the bulk should be moving away from our area as we continue to see that system move away from us. Boating forecast, caution flag in place for the extreme northern islands. The remainder of the islands not too bad. Southeast to south winds at 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet, but up to 6 feet across the extreme northern islands. Low tide was at 7:13 tonight. The high tide takes place at 1:26 in the morning. For the central and southeast Bahamas, caution flag for you guys down there. East to southeast winds at 15 knots, seas running 3 to 5 feet, and most of those winds and seas will be higher along Atlantic exposures. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your extended forecast, we will keep the moisture in place throughout the remainder of the week. Some residual showers will be hanging on to us through the early part of next week. Temperatures will be in the 80s, so we're not seeing those 90s that we were seeing for the last couple of days. But before we go, we're asking you to watch the newscast, actually. Just after this newscast, we'll talk about the hurricane season and Storm Navigator. Jasmine and I will tell you how to prepare yourself for the upcoming 2024 hurricane season, as it is expected to be an unprecedented one. Stick around and stay with us right after the newscast. That's a look at our weather. Back to you.
So much. Good job, Greg. And with that, we thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Natalia Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening. Storm Navigator with our Jasmine Brown and meteorologist Greg Thompson starts right now.